My palette of emotions, majority of it is shit that I don't like.
Be it music, be it photography, be it cinematography or direction, it needs to say a lot about you.
Experimenting is experiencing. So the more you experiment, more you find your thing.
All night, all right, all night, all right, all night, all right, all right.
Hi, I'm Abhishek Babu. I'm a photographer and a cinematographer. I come from a small town called Bhilai. It's in Chhattisgarh. And I've been working in fashion industry for like another 10 years. And now I moved into visuals. And apart from fashion editorial side, I do like fine art and a lot of alternate process. And that's about me.
Tell me your breakout job.
Yeah,
Like, which
breakup
put you on the
job,
map?
Like, yeah, because I was studying. A lot of people will connect to that. Probably like I was studying engineering as, yeah. So I was an engineer. First year I was like clear. I dropped out and I started practicing like photography from a camera that I bought for myself because parents nahi de rahe the. So I worked for like 1 year or something in a call center and earned a camera for myself. Then I thought, okay, no one can stop me anymore. I am the photographer, but no, that was like realization for me that I started to think, okay, this is a starting of a journey to nowhere. And after that, I moved into like fashion, and I was called for uh, like a Amazon Fashion Week in Delhi. So I was commissioned to do backstage. So that's where I started off, and that's where I come from. Thank you.
Urvi.
Hello, I'm Urvi. I've been a photographer for about 6, 7 years. And much like Abhishek, and I'm guessing a lot of people here, I also was a law student and I quit law midway in my third year. And I chose photography. And the point where I knew I wanted to do photography was, uh, to be honest, watching Wake Up Sid for like 600 times. In law school, the only film that I would go back to was Wake Up Sid. Somewhere I would imagine I was Aisha or I was Sid. And yeah, I think when I was exiting law school and I went to collect my documents from the office, my professor said that you won't be able to come back to law school again. And not once did I hesitate saying that, no, it's okay. And I said, it's fine. I want to be a photographer. So, and since then, I don't think I've ever regretted this decision of photographing people. And it started with photographing myself because I was in a very vulnerable state. And this medium has helped me understand myself better and understand people better. So I never considered this, or I still don't consider this as work. It is something that I enjoy doing. Something that I absolutely love. So yeah, this is me, and this is what I do.
I was first a dancer, then an editor, then I'm a cinematographer, then a director. And all through those stages, I had music backing me up for a while. And now finally, I'm going into narrative. That's where I'm trying to exist when it comes to the creative realm. But बस इतना ही है, मतलब I create shit. That's it. Like, yeah.
What is like that one breakout job that put you guys on the map?
I wouldn't say it was like a specific project, but definitely I used to photograph my grandfather a lot, and it was a series. I would photograph him every single day of my life till I was living with him. People started recognizing that. And that is how I sort of found my interest in the kind of work I do. Um, just photographing the mundaneness and the monotony of life. I think that is what speaks to most people. As in, whosoever has asked me about my work, I think that's more relevant for me, and that's the kind of work I like doing. And yeah.
Don't say what we want to. Don't say that.
But I would say it was Genghis, like a music video I made, because that's when close friends and family were like, you can make things. So that was the first reason to be like, okay, Big Dogs is the reason for that. Because those people are like, the close people that were around me were like, this is good, this is interesting. Then I was like, okay, I can make more of this.
But I'm
Yeah.
glad it wasn't big doors. Okay. So each one of you, when I went through your work, I found that each one of you sort of arrived at a very unique style, and I feel like as a filmmaker, I usually struggle with knowing what is my style. So how do you achieve? How do you get to that? Like from years of working, when you guys started first job and blah 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 blah, moving on, couple of years went by. How do you derive your style? Where does it lead? How does it come to that point?
So it always starts with emulation. Majority of times is looking at something and being like, "I want to make what exactly that is," right? Once you do that, eventually you will come to a place where you're bored of it. When you're bored of it, you end up removing parts from it and then adding new things. You have to figure out what your palette of emotions are. And my palette of emotions, majority of it is shit that I don't like. So even when it comes to a director, when it comes to editor, whatever that might be, one of the main things is realizing what the fuck you don't like, and that means you have to watch a lot of shit that you don't like. Once you do that, then you can be in a position and create things in your way, and that will change, progress, morph into new things. And there's not one style you're going to be. If you're stuck on one style, please try to like assertively talk to yourself and be like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. If you see complacency in the kind of work that is happening around you, in terms of other directors, other creatives, it's your responsibility to be like, I want to respect the audiences. I want to be able to create things which emote rather than just give me one view. You know, like you have to connect to an audience to a certain extent where they stick around. They want to see more. And it's not about, ultimately, all of us here live off attention. Attention is the artist's biggest currency. To survive, to thrive, to do all of those things. And that there are two ways of getting attention. One is to seek those numbers. One is to capture their emotions in whatever context you can. So if you're able to capture emotions, emulate emotions, and in that process, you have to do the same to yourself. If you're able to feel those things, audiences will. That's it.
That's pretty good.
I think I'm very with Bijoy on this. Initially, when I was assisting a photographer, what I realized about my work was it was very similar to that of him because I would really like his work and I would always try to be more or less similar to what his images looked like. But much later, I realized that that wasn't me. That was just who I was trying to be, who I wasn't. But I do resonate with a lot of artists, photographers, and I did fair bit of my study, watching documentaries or reading books or even photo books for that matter. Um, I really resonated with Vivian Myers and Dwayne Michaels, who spoke a lot about and who emoted or who focused, their main focus was their emotion and specifically sadness. I know this might sound a little sadistic in some way, but I want my images to emote some sort of sadness or an extreme emotion. And my aim is not to photograph reality. Somewhere creating that mystery or fantasy or how I see the world as when I'm photographing a person. What I think about the person and the space, I try to replicate that through my photographs and also lights and shadows, and I work mainly with natural light. I think over the years that has created my language. If someone sees an image, they're able to say that it is my image, which is, I think some bit of success in some way. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Abhishek.
So, when I started off being a self-taught photographer, I had an idea what I really liked, but I could not name it as a style. But I knew I had a taste. Like there's a certain kind of taste I like, and I believe that experimenting is experiencing. So the more you experiment, more you find your thing. And like I never try to confine myself to any kind of style because there are things I want to do. Like I would want to make videos, I would want to do like fashion, I would like to make documentaries. So I think the amalgamation of everything makes you like different. Like, you know, we are all same in different parts, but the permutation and combination is what makes us very different. So that has been my thing. And also later in my career, when I was trying to venture into everything, and I was so hard and fast on myself that I need not to do that, because like I have an identity as a fashion photographer, or should I have like a balance between being a documentary photographer or being a cinematographer, which I'm venturing into. So I thought I can't be everything, but I felt I can be everything that I want to be. So that's where my style derives from, and that's how.
Since you spoke about that, I have a question about all of you all said that I'm a photographer, cinematographer. Basically, you have multiple titles to what you all do. I don't know how to do anything else but cinematography. Like, I don't. And I can be honest about it. But how do you all come to that point where you're able to compartmentalize your head and do so many different things so well?
The point is we don't have to. Yeah, if we mix up everything, like, you know, it's like films are moving frames. And if you understand photography, you apply that. And sometimes if you bring that nuances of videography or filmmaking into photography, it's just a still image, but, you know, it still says cinematic. So
I think it's easier said than done. What about you?
Uh, I consider myself jack of all trades, master of none. And I think, to be very honest, in today's day and world, you need to have multiple sources of income. To be very honest, I'm sorry. But I strongly believe in that. But also staying true to your core. I mean, photography, be it music, be it photography, be it cinematography or direction. Uh, it needs to speak who you are. It needs to say a lot about you. And I think then these are just tags of being a photographer, being a musician. The core remains the same, I think, behind everything else. Yeah.
Bijoy. You have the most titles amongst all of us.
I mean, I feel like each art form has a similar frequency. So whether it be dance, whether it be music, whether all of these things, whatever art form you want to aspire to sort of engage in, they all have the same frequency of emotion. So if you are able to understand that emotion, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like there's no like you should do this because of this reason only. Once you're able to understand what is the point of that move, note, shot, then you are able to do anything you want in that process. So it's just, and I feel like it's so much more fun when you know everything else, and when you are as a like a director, like as an orchestrator, you're going this moves like this moves like that. So it has a symphony then. Then literally I recreate any artist that I work with in music videos, I recreate their music with my visuals. So whether anything particularly, like I think about sounds as three layers: dominant sound, submissive sound, and layered sound. So when you think about sounds like that, then you have to understand which is the higher peaks of sound. Then I want to focus on that sound. Which are the lower peaks of sound? I don't think I need to cut it on that because it doesn't make sense there. So it's the same thing applies to direction. Why I don't like it? Because it's too high and it doesn't do enough. Dance also. Okay, this move is too aggressive. It's not doing much to me. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's well put. I didn't think of it like that. I think music videos in general are so tricky when you're working with artists. So I guess you end up spending a lot more time with them in the beginning to prep and learn what, you know, and that's why it makes the process so easier for you all also. Um, Personally, if I had to ask you all, if there was like no boundaries and there was one job that you guys would want to do in the next 3 or 4 years or whatever, whenever, what would that job be? Not a different title, but just to work with a particular person or work or do something pertaining to or work with an artist or anything. It could be anything.
I'll give you a list only, bro. I will not ask for one thing. I'll negotiate and then figure out to make a
No, but
list.
what is the top of that list? Give me the top three. Has to be 1, 2, 3.
So, but I will give you a list.
Okay. Achha, you were going to send it to me. I thought,
हाँ, list भेजेगा
I
मेरे
thought
को.
you were narrating it right
अरे
now.
नहीं, मैं ऐसा metaphorical list I'll send you.
Okay. Do you guys have anything like that?
Yeah, for me, like there's no end to whatever we would want or whatever we would want to do, because it's endless, man. Next step, next step, next step. There's no end to it. But for me, most important thing is to move back to my roots. So like, so more I progress, I want to go back to where I come from, and my dream is just a small dream that I want to go back to my hometown and make a film from there. So that's the thing, like, where's it? And I want to tell people about it and tell stories from how we grew up, kind of thing. So I just want to make a small film
Nice,
someday.
nice.
So
That's great.
yeah.
I don't really have a specific answer for this, but I think I really want to photograph houses from the outside at night. Ever since I was a kid, I would always imagine, like, I would look at the windows and I would always imagine what people living in those houses would be like, what the house would be like. So I think mystery plays an important role in my work, and I would like to photograph homes. Yeah.
I think Bijoy, you have a bol de yaar. Kendrick Lamar, you can say it. What about, you guys have been working for a few years now, and I presume you all have figured out like certain hacks that you all follow and do during the course of whatever you all are trying to create. If you can sort of explain the younger filmmakers, what is that hack? Is there a hack that you guys have figured?
Hack.
Yeah, like, maybe like utilize this and it'll get saved.
I have
Or-
like for each medium, like for editing, what I usually do, how I practice for editing is that I'll take a rickshaw, I'll put on headphones, play a music, play any song, and just look around and match my music to everything that's going on. That's like, and you'll have fun with it also. Headphone लगाओ, किसी का गाड़ी का light, tail light जा रहा है, blink हो रहा है, उसको like try and fix it. Then figure out how to look around your space with music, especially if you're talking about as an editor, or like you will understand rhythm better then. Even if you observe observation, that could be like, fuck man, I'm so smart. But but observation, that's the main thing. Like if you're able to somehow implement that where it's effortless, it doesn't feel like work. When you're looking at something and you're feeling something at that point, you can take that information and keep it in your pocket for later. So that is one hack I would say for everybody that I think everybody should practice and have to practice to like create anything.
That's how you find interesting things to be able to put into your medium. But you said as an editor.
Editor, yeah. As a director also, all of these, like observation as a whole, any art form, like even in dance you can see that, even in music you can see that. That's the biggest core of like as a creative, to look at something or feel something at that point,
Nice. Yeah.
Very important, and only realized it in like this year and last. Take care of your backs. Very, very important. Take care of your shoulders and backs. Stress injury is real. So please really take care of your health, firstly. Second, I would say don't get stuck into this rut of keeping up with trends and competing with who's better and I need to be somewhere. Just believe in yourself. I know this sounds very, what do you say?
Sounds right.
It sounds right. Okay, fine. It sounds right. It sounds very preachy, but really it's difficult to stay positive all the time, to believe yourself. But just know at the end of the day, everybody is questioning everything that's happening in the world. It's not that our world is so peaceful right now. So there are different factors that are affecting our everyday moods, and be patient with it. Don't be in a rush to be somewhere, I would say. And yeah, that's about it.
For me, the hack is to not indulge a lot. Not indulge into what you're working on, basically, because right now it's a very like amazing time to be photographers, cinematographers, or visual artists, or whatever, because we have access to so much of information and so much of inspiration every day. That's amazing time to be alive, but the more you move away from that is how you find yourself. Because for you, me, everybody, the source is the same. The source of inspiration stays the same. And how do we make it different? So the point is, like, for me, if I'm working on like a fashion project, I try to take inspiration from documentary photographers and how they work, how do they frame their things. And more I move away from it, more I get inspired to do what I am doing. And my general hack is to take a walk, just move out of your PC, man. If you want to really have inspiration, just take a walk or do something or see something, and ultimately, as Bijoy said, uh, it's not about what you are seeing. We are seeing so much nowadays. It's not about what you're seeing, but it's about what you're observing. And once you realize what you're observing, it's that's where you find what your style is, what your hack is. So pay attention to that. That's about it.
Do you guys have a process that you all follow when you all are trying to create something? Like, is there like a process? I know you mentioned about the rickshaw, which was a cool thing, but is there something else? Like, do you guys do something before you all start a job? Maybe like jam with someone, or like, are there some anecdotes that you want to share?
Think if I like them or not. If I don't like them, I will move on.
For me, since I photograph people, I talk to them and I try to connect with them on a very personal level. Uh, I think more than photographing them, the important part is how comfortable I am able to make them feel. And also, another element which is very important in my process is music. Something that they like listening to, or something that might evoke a certain emotion in them. I always start with, how is your day going? How are you feeling today? And I think that's just a very good icebreaker. And talking really.
Have you found? Sorry to cut you. Have you found that it has altered the image by doing that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have had people cry after photographing them and say things like they have never been seen or photographed this way. They didn't know that they could emote this way. And I think in some way, um, you have achieved. I think I feel proud about that more than what the output is. Or I disconnect from my images. Once I shoot them, um, I don't look at the photographs for about 2 to 3 weeks. I think it's very important because you have to look at photographs very objectively. It's very emotion based. I'm just talking about emotions because that's how heavily dependent my photography or my work is. So yeah, that's pretty much my process.
That's a beautiful thought, and that was intense, quite intense. Yeah, music always stays a part of getting inspired. Like I think it's a universal language that we can say, just transcend everything. For me, as a process, is just the self-talk to bring some clarity to myself that this is what I'm doing. I might not know exactly at this moment what I'm trying to do, but eventually I know that's why I'm trying to do something, and to keep it segregated in a way that okay, this is a job and I do it as a job. So I don't have to mix things. And if I'm doing it for something else, I have to be very clear that, okay, this is for myself, I'm doing it. So that's about, self-talk is very important before anything.
Do you guys have like a favorite lens and equipment that you guys like to use? Lens, camera.
I would say there's a quote, I will quote that the best camera is what you have in your hand, man. Like anything I have shot on,
What do you shoot on largely?
like I don't have any preference because I shoot handycam shots, low quality. I've shot like this is about the place you are in because I used to shoot people on gigs, and when I used to like take a heavy camera, it was always like an obstruction. So I used to take like 3.2 megapixel small camera and just approach people. They were like so
Nice.
happy to see it, like
Nice.
wow, what a cute camera, and just happy to give a picture.
What about lens? Do you have a lens?
That's special. But I would
Whatever.
say, like, I think a lot of people might agree. I think the best lens to have is the kit lens. Kit lens, man. Like, I think so. Like, for me, kit lens.
Okay.
Nothing fancy.
I started off with a handycam. I used to really enjoy shooting on my handycam and also not very stuck on high-end cameras at all. If you ask for my favorite lens, maybe like a wide lens 24-70 or a 35. I do like my block lenses for sure. But yeah, a lot of times I do use my phone and I don't think that should limit my work in any manner. So it really doesn't, at least in my opinion, unless it's a commercial gig and it asks you for certain equipments, I don't think cameras or what brand or how expensive a camera you're using should hold you back.